Right, all right. Yes, everyone, welcome to the second podcast,
Number
Reggae
two.
PodClash, round two. Devin, how you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you, Roger?
I can't complain. It's a little cooler than it was last time. Last time it was pretty hot here, but yeah,
It's
I'm
hot where I'm
feeling
at.
good. I'm feeling good. Porter Ranch up here gets really, really hot. I mean, geez, man, I was melting. There's some days where I'm just like walking around naked. I know. What a way to start a podcast, right, everyone? But
Uh,
Devin,
yes,
what are you up to, man?
I'm just excited for today's show. If people don't know, we have Mr. Clinton Fearon from the Gladiators with us, joining us in about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And I, I mean, I
we're
don't even
both
want to talk
stoked,
about it
dude.
too much. I want to save all the good stuff for the conversation. I can't wait.
We're both stoked. Like, yeah, me and Devin, this is like, a big day for us because when you really sit back and think about it, oh my gosh, okay, this dude was there. For a lot of times, this kind of seems make believe at times, right? You're like, oh, Studio One and back in the day and all this stuff, and you're so into it, and you're like, wait, no, this cat was there. Like
Yep.
Clinton was there. Oh, that band that I was spent years and years listening to, that's Clinton. Like, you know what I mean? So that's gonna be
It's
really,
gonna be good. It's
yeah.
it's gonna be real good.
For sure, man. So yeah, if you are joining us for the first time, this is our second podcast, and what we're about is kind of just talking about reggae. Bringing reggae guests on here, both modern, new reggae artists, and as today, some old school cats. Try to mix it up. Try to give you the full spectrum from old to new, and plus different styles too. So we're not just biased and trying to do like one thing. We're really trying to bring it all together, and um, yeah, that's our mission statement.
Yeah, and I want to thank everyone who reached out to us this week and tuned into the first episode. Got a lot of good feedback, some suggestions. We got some things we tweaked, some exciting little additions to the show, but got some really nice messages from people digging the concept. And if this is their first time tuning in, what Roger and I are trying to do is Roger and myself grew up playing reggae music and listening to reggae music specifically, from the golden age of Jamaican music, ska through rocksteady, early reggae through the 70s into the early 80s, and in the bands we were both in, we had the opportunity to tour pretty extensively with bands that are kind of in the current American reggae scene. So we were able to have our one foot kind of firmly planted in each world, as it were. And
Mm-hmm.
so we've always wanted to do this show where we can bring the audiences that are really into old school reggae music, and the audiences that are into the current reggae that's being made in America and elsewhere in the world, and bring everyone together where we can all just hang out and listen to reggae and talk about reggae, what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, you know what the super cool thing is that you kind of want the genre of not want, but you kind of assume the genre of reggae music is going to have its heyday, and in some ways it has over the years. There's kind of better years than others, but for the most part, it's just a constant love of reggae music. So, 60s, I mean, before the 60s, right? Into the mental thing, ska, the whole history, 70s, 80s, with certain eras, some people might look at as cheesy or they might not gravitate towards that era. I mean, it still was banging and booming for a certain group of people, all the way up until now. If you look at the current, artists that are just making a boom, I mean,
It's
geez.
amazing to me when you think about the influence Jamaican music has had that's kind of disproportionate to its geography. It's this little island,
Yeah.
and the music was being produced in such a small little area. And not only is reggae music so huge around the world, and everybody listens to it and keeps making it, and it keeps influencing new styles, but then it also, is directly uh, responsible for hip hop and for electronic
Mm-hmm.
music. And it's crazy how, I mean, in a lot of ways, you can say that Jamaican music is just as influential as any other music there's ever been.
I totally agree, man. The electronic, right? The dub stuff, right? I mean, geez,
Mm-hmm.
look at all that. Sometimes it doesn't get the credit. I mean, a lot of the times it doesn't get the credit it deserves. And so that's what we're about, man. We're about just trying to fill the void, try to create something that definitely when me and Devin were younger, we'd be really stoked to have out there. We're real fortunate nowadays. Kind of turn this era of what we're going through as a world, flip that upside down and bring some good out of it. So, uh, yes. And every week we're gonna have this segment called. Well, we don't have a name for it, but what is it, Devin? What do we do every week?
Oh, it's called Tune of the Week.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I call it.
Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
I think I'm
Oh,
calling
shoot.
it. Yeah.
I've been messing up. I've been calling Record of the Week this whole time. Jeez.
Start the show
Man,
over.
start the show over. All right, everyone, come back tomorrow. We'll see you.
So
yes.
yeah, we every week we each select a record to play for you, something from our record collection. And who's going first today, Roger?
Oh man, who's on first? Who's on second? I have you queued up.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. So we're gonna play a little bit of the music. Let y'all marinate on it.
So this is from my 7-inch collection, and I pulled this one out to give to Raj. So I'm gonna put this on and talk about it a little bit. Have the info slide?
That what?
The little info to put up?
Oh man, I'm slipping here. Ladies and gentlemen, here's some info for y'all.
The drummer forgot to go into the breakdown.
Yeah.
Give him a second.
He's all, I got this.
Time will come when Joshua separated the sheep from the goat. The time will come.
All right, pull that one up.
When
Right?
every vine has to find them victory, Jaja.
All right, that was my choice for tune of the week this week. That's "Send Another Moses" by the Willows. I picked that one. I've always loved that tune. So I first heard it. The version side was on. There's a reissue company called Soul Jazz that reissues, studio, other kind of music too, but they have these Studio One reissues, and they do the best Studio One reissues. It's like the audio quality is always perfect. They take their time with it. The tune selection is top notch, and the version side of that was on one of the Studio One dub collections. I think it was Volume 2, and so I heard it, and I mean the rhythm is so heavy, and I always tried to. I was like, okay, it had the info on the back, "Send Another Moses" by the Willows, but I couldn't find the A side anywhere. So I looked for that for years before I finally found that 7-inch. And aside from the tune itself just being a banger, I always think to myself that for some reason 1976 is like my favorite year in Jamaican music. I don't know why. There's something about songs made that year that just like it's just like everything was coming together. The tunes people were writing, the way the recording quality of the studios had improved, but it hadn't got so clean yet where it still it maintained this kind of ambient like magic, and the rockers beat was in full effect. And so that one I love because it's 1976 heavy steppers rhythm, but because it's recorded at Studio One, it still sounds like just the ambience of the recording sounds like a Studio One recording from the early 70s to me. And it's just one of those unique tunes like that. Like I love putting that on when I DJ, because it's like you can play that song if you're playing a set of rocksteady music or like early 70s stuff. You can throw that on, and even though it's 76, it fits really well, And then the other thing is we can ask Clinton about this, but maybe he knows, but I don't know who the Willows are. It's one of those. It's one of those groups that they got a few songs that I know of, and it's like Jamaican music is so full of that kind of thing where it's like a group will come in under a certain name and do like one song or two songs that you're like, you hear it and you're like, whoa, this is amazing. And you try to find more music by them and there is
No
none.
dice,
You know,
yeah.
it's like, and how it just happens time after time. It's like, where, like, it's this little island that was full of the greatest songwriters of all time. It's crazy.
Right.
It never like ceases to amaze me. And then also, you know, like the Send Another Moses theme. There's you know, maybe how many 20, 30 songs from that era that have that title and that lyric in it, you know, and I always gravitate to those songs for some reason. And that you know, the Expanders, like we did a cover of Another Moses by the Ethiopians, and we just always gravitated to songs like this. So yeah, that's
it's so funny you
top
mentioned
notch
that,
tune.
right, about like who is, I mean, when you look at a group like the Willows, right, and you can assume who the backing band is, right, like you know, we were talking about this, the Brentford Road All Stars, you know, aka Soul Defenders, aka Brentford Rockers, and Brentford this and that, and you know, like I think Horsemouth, Horsemouth was on. I mean, I wasn't there, but I'm just saying by all the info that gets passed over the years, I'm assuming I heard Horsemouth was on drums.
But I don't think that's Horsemouth on that tune,
right
though.
there necessarily, right?
I think that's why am I blanking on his name? Again, Clinton will know, but the Joe, I want to say it's
Joe Mouth. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, that sounds like the other guy that I just am blanking on his name right now. That played on a lot of that stuff.
Right. It would have been interesting to see, like, you know, the Skylights if it would have went through, and they would have adapted to like the Rockers era. Like it would have been
If the
interesting.
Skylights had played some heavy,
those same
and
members
rockers and stuff. Yeah,
exactly, in Studio One. You know,
Mhm.
see them progress. That's crazy. Right
Yeah,
on,
so-
right on. Well,
So
let me see.
that's my pick. Roger, have you picked a song for this week?
I have not. I'm just gonna grab whatever record I see. I'm gonna swap this out. I'm trying not to drop Devin's record.
I heard it was your dad's birthday today.
Yes, shout out to Mr. Roger Rivas Sr. It's his
Happy
birthday today.
man.
Yeah, he keeps getting up there in age, but he don't look any different. He's just the same features.
Ooh, I hear it.
Shout out.
All
Goes
right.
to my pops, right?
Put your info on.
Oh
Up on
yeah. I need to let Devin be in charge of this one.
Ooh, turn it up.
All right, Alidina, go on, go do the work. All right, Alidina,
Yeah.
go on, go do the work. All right, Alidina, lazy, Alidina, crazy, Alidina, go on, go do the work. All right, Alidina, lazy, Alidina, crazy, Alidina, go on, go do the work. All right, just week before last week I saw you standing at the man's corner looking intent, and you, Alidina, won't go do the work. All right, Alidina, lazy, Alidina, crazy, Alidina, go on, go do the work. All right, Alidina, lazy, Alidina, crazy, Alidina, go on, go do the work. All right.
I had to wait for the solo. Couldn't kill it. All right, damn. That's a hit right there. Anything.
I
Toots.
had to mute my mic because I can't help singing along with that one.
Oh, I know. That's yeah, all the Toots stuff. That whole album, man, Sweet and Dandy album is super duper dope. I remember when I was young, I think when CDs were cracking, and you know, you get to that era where you're super stoked that you find this old school Jamaican music on CD. It's that certain era, not yet like where you can go on YouTube and just find everything. But it's that one where you're like, oh, okay, cool. This hit CD, it's new to me. And I remember getting like 3 Toots albums. I mean, you call it a box set or whatever, but it was just like that was my soundtrack for like whatever that year was, you know, just putting that in the car, and this was one of them. This was one of the songs that's on the Sweet and Dandy album. What's really cool is the studio is recorded at, because I know a lot of time us as musicians, especially when we're talking about like the guitar, Beverly's has like or not Beverly's, Dynamic Sound Studio. Beverly's is the label, which by the way, Pyramid is like the UK Beverly's in a way. I mean, Leslie Kong and other artists that recorded, that was like the outlet. The Pyramid label was like the UK version or press or whatnot.
Right.
But anyways, that studio provided a certain like gitsy sound. Like if you listen to the guitar, like I think it's something that no other studio on the island could do. And so whenever I talk to guitar players, I know whether it's Jesse, Butcher, whoever, Chris, yourself, there's that certain, you're like, oh, did he have like a wah at a certain point, or what was that? Because there's this certain like wow, 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 like this pop to it that you really, I mean, you could try to get it, but you really can't get it. Who knows what it was? The equipment, the actual engineering or whatnot. But yeah, and then also the organ. They had like the Lowry organ there. That same studio did a lot of stuff with the Jimmy Cliff stuff, Desmond Decker stuff, and you just know, when I think of Toots and the Maytals, I definitely think of this era of them.
Right. I wonder how he feels about that. I feel like as an artist, sometimes when your career spans so many decades, and then people are constantly referring to your early stuff,
Oh man,
you're like, come on, I've made so much since then.
That's rough, right? I read an article. A scientist just did a tape op. There's a magazine called Tape Op out there for anybody that it's a free subscription. So
it's in your bathroom. I always.
Oh yeah, you've been there. You see, I got all the collections. You know what's up.
Yeah.
And wait, what are you doing in my bathroom? Hold on.
I mean, I've never seen it.
I gotta go check the cameras. I mean, never mind. So, there's this magazine called Tape Op, and it's a really, really informative magazine on recording and stuff like that. It kind of caters to a certain audience, but they did a special on dub music, and it had like everyone in there. It had scientists, had a whole write up on Lee Perry, but on the scientist part, it did touch on that. Like, how many times he gets asked, about his early albums and his early work, and they start asking him about King Tubby. And just King Tubby, and like, oh, did King Tubby use the Fisher reverb? And scientist is probably like, he's probably be nice about it, but man, he's like, come on, that's like so long ago. I think he even said in the article, he's all, man, that's when I was like a kid. So like when you and me try to think about, oh, someone asking us about something when we did like 10 years ago, for him, it's like he was a kid there with Tubby. So yes, I do wonder. I know, does it get on people's nerves, or are they cool with it or whatnot? But
I mean, yeah, you don't know. I bet everyone has a different feeling about it. I like to think that if you've, if you've been blessed to have the kind of career in music where people have enjoyed your stuff so much that, the most annoying thing that's happening to you on a daily basis is people bringing up music that you wrote that meant so much to them, then you're doing something right in life.
Doing something right. That's true. Yeah, that's your only complaint. You're winning. You're winning there for sure. But dude, I mean, I really dig what we're doing here so far. You got 4 songs of the week under our belt, so we're really stoked. I mean, I hope everyone stays with us as we keep doing these, because we're not super pros, and we're not trying to come off as like educating, but we just love doing this. This is kind of stuff we'd be doing even if there wasn't a camera and mic in front of us. So,
do you want to tell people about the playlist we've put together real quick before we bring Clinton on? Yes,
definitely. And I'll talk a little more about it when we at the end of this program. But we have a new website, brand spanking new, www.thepodclash.
The Reggae PodClash.
The Reggae PodClash. Thank you. .com. And if you go there, we're trying to do something really cool, which is show you the 2 songs of the week, prior to the show that we're going to talk about, those songs. So right now you can go on the website, and you'll see there's 2 songs that we've uploaded, labeled Song of the Week, and you can go check those out, marinate on that, so that you have just a little, you're closer to the song a little more as we talk about it. And plus, we don't really get to play the song, in its entirety. And why there's Babylon out there too, Devin, right? They're trying to take us down, the copyright stuff with like the Facebook, and I mean, look, there's some programs out there that sometimes won't let you play the whole song, but. Anyways, that's why we want you to get familiar with the song, and when we start talking about it. And also on top of that, we have like a full-on playlist of other songs that we don't necessarily own on record, but we really, really dig them, and got them from YouTube or other places and kind of compiled them together. Nothing too long, kind of get to like the quality, not quantity aspect of it. And so go check it out, the reggaepodclash.com. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we'll talk about that more at the end of the episode. But shall we get into the meat of this and give the people what they want?
Let's do it.
All right. We would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Clinton Fearon.
Yes.
All right, greetings.
Yeah, man.
How are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm in the dressing room there checking you guys out.
Yeah.
Nice.
How is
got
it
your
where you're
rider
at?
right back there.
Yeah.
In the green room. Say that again.
How
I
is
hope
it
they got
where
their
you're at?
rider back there and for you. The
Oh
water
yeah,
and the
I
coconut.
like the oranges and the
Yes.
grapes and
Yeah, exactly.
the water and I see something like the mind's eye kind of looking at something look like soursop juice, but I doubt it.
Tell the people where you're at right now currently.
Right now, I'm in Seattle, man. I'm in Seattle, in Seattle, Washington.
Cool.
And right here in our living room, me and my wife, we share this little quarters here, and hey, we are here with you.
We love it in Seattle,
Thank
right?
you so much. Oh yeah, Seattle's
It's a
great.
pleasure. It's a pleasure.
The Nectar Lounge is a great spot. We've always come through there when we play there.
Yeah, it's a great
little
spot. Nothing is going on there now based on the situation, the COVID-19 and things like that.
Right.
All our gigs are canceled that we have there so far. We see what happened next. It's long story, that one.
Yeah, definitely.
I watched your. I've seen all the live streams you've been doing, and I watched the one you did at the Nectar Lounge, which was real. You did that very soon after the whole quarantine took effect,
right.
and
It was very emotional too. You know what I mean? Because that's a spot, one of our favorite spot in this whole area. And we have a very good relationship with the owners and things like that. Always treat us well. So to be there on a situation like that and see that, hey, people always come there, 4 times a year to see us, and now they can't do it, and we are there, and you say, well, where are all the people? Oh, they are at home,
right.
Yeah. It's a little bit on the tough side. Like I said, a little bit on the emotional side, but
Sure.
we'll get through this, huh?
We'll
Yeah,
get through
of
this,
course.
man.
Of course. Well, I mean, the stuff like the live streams you're doing really, really do help people get through it, as I'm sure you know just by seeing the response.
That is true. That is true, and it warms my heart.
Because it's nice to
Warms
see.
my heart.
It's nice to know sometimes, like when you're going through things like this, it's nice for people to know they're not going through it alone. And it's affecting
Alone,
everybody,
yeah,
including the
exactly,
people,
man.
musicians they look up to, and everything. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like a wake up call in our way, kind of to remind us that we do need one another. You know what I mean? Because sometimes your environment or your situation can make you think otherwise. That you stand alone and hey, you're so powerful, etc. But at the end of the day, we all need one another.
Right.
You
True
know?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for coming on. I mean, we're big fans of original Jamaican music, and we have.
I heard.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So
But you know what?
crazy.
Before we go any further, I just
Yeah.
want to thank you still because I see you stepping back in the past a little bit and touching on some old stuff, some of which I'm not even fully. I remember the Soul Defenders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let me just go in Studio One. They were there playing sometimes too as well. And backing up artists coming in sometimes, new artists. And you touch on some points there. Like groups that would do a one song and then you never
Right.
hear about him or her again or the group again. A lot of that goes on because the situation was so tough. Surviving, doing the music and survive doing it. And then you go up and responsibility hit. You know what? You don't bother with that. You go do something else.
So that
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I mean, that's not just us looking back and having that perception. That was a real thing then.
That
The
was
one-off
a real
group.
thing. It
Wow.
was a real thing.
Because as Roger
Wow.
mentioned, it's like the early 70s and the late 60s and all of that, to fans of Jamaican music like us, as Roger mentioned, it just feels like it seems unreal. It seems like this kind of like
Right.
fantasy time, like, oh, those were like the old, like the Bible days or something, like they never happened. And like, and so to it's I wanted to just ask you some of your, just what was it like to be at Studio One at that time, and some of your, really fond memories of that era, specifically
Oh man,
Studio One era.
I remember seeing Scatterlights playing there.
Wow.
Recording stuff. That time it just coming out of ska, going into rock steady, little bit leaning reggae, but mostly rock steady, ska, rock steady. And, rock steady was played by other musicians, the ska stuff, and those speed mostly played by Scatterlights, and things were getting a little way, some members leaving and so forth. So, but the music that was coming out and seeing those guys from afar, because I couldn't even go in the studio at the time. I just get to glance through and see them, and like, wow, already I was in a candy store.
Right.
But you get the sense from even back then that everybody's the heart and soul is there, and you want to make music and you want to be there doing it, but not every one of us make it through, because it's tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough.
Right. Definitely imagine, man. What was it like meeting Coxsone? Because at that point you had to have known that, like, okay, Coxsone Dodd is the man, behind
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
What was your first encounters with him?
My first encounter is when I went down there with my little group called the Brothers.
Okay.
Because we went around and we did a few auditions. At Treasure Isle, at Studio One,
Wow.
there is another place there with a guy named up off a tree. Can't remember his name. Anyway, we check all the we check Prince Buster,
Wow.
we check all but we didn't really get a bite,
Right.
But and it was brief when I met Cox, and then say, oh, well, come back another time, and then we go back and you spend almost all day there, and you still don't get a chance for him to hear the stuff, so we get kind of fed up with that. And then when I joined the Gladiators, and we went on there, we even wait for quite a while too before we get to talk with him,
Wow.
and he said, all right, come, and so we went back and yeah. But if you don't know him, you wouldn't believe that Coxsone, because you hear the name all about over Jamaica, Studio One, Coxsone Dodd, So
Right.
you're looking for this, well put together guy who is like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
broad chest, and thing,
Right.
But
Right.
that wasn't the case. There's a humble little guy, doing his thing, having like a black Buick, you know what I mean? It's like just creeping through, creep back out, So
Right.
it was a pleasure meeting him, and then having to have discussion with him was even bigger, on a later date.
Wow. That's
Right.
super cool. So
So the question I have is, as not just a singer yourself, but a bass player who played at Studio One, for Roger and I, who are musicians, we're always trying to do what we can to approximate some kind of sound from that era, but it's especially Studio One, it's just really, really
yeah.
been impossible for us and for anybody that I've ever heard to recreate that sound, even when they try. And so, for someone like you who not only was singing there but was playing bass there as well, and involved in making the music, is there any insight that you have into how they were able to create that signature identifiable sound that when you put on a record like the one I played earlier, you
Right.
just know immediately, oh, that's Studio One, because
That's
of the
Studio
way
One.
it's recorded?
Well, the thing is, each one of those studios have their own sound. Like you were talking about
Beverly's and
Beverly's,
Dynamic. Yeah.
Dynamics, Ari J's,
Treasure Isle.
Treasure Isle, totally have. But you notice Treasure Isle and Studio One, they are different, but they still have something that the other studios doesn't have. Well, I think it's the acoustic equipment, and everything going down at the same time. So the thing is not just clean, but there is some professionalism on it, and in the same breath, there's leakage too. It's like there's all of this, and it creates an ambience. And then there's tube amplifiers, tube amplifiers and old bass. These days you have active bass. Almost every bass now have a battery in it. Back then it's the wood and the player and the strings. You know what I mean? And when, for example, when I just started playing, I had problem when I went in the studio first, start playing and go on channel 1 and different play. Oh, basically, turn down the bass, man. Turn up the treble and turn everything out. And I'm saying, I want to hear the thing how I hear it on the sound system.
Right.
That's what I try to go for and say, capture me like how I'm coming. Capture me from what I'm putting out here, because this is how it sweet me to play. You understand what I mean? It's like I try to capture that because I hear what I hear on the sound system. I'm trying to catch that, and at later date you realize that, okay, all right, most like I said, most bass, has a battery in it. It's more active, and it's right here. Every note is right out there and things like that. The ones, if you notice them old time bass, some notes you hit it and you hardly hear it, but you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like a thump. It's like a thump more so like a bang. Like how what you call it, like a funk bass pop. You know what I mean? That's most cool with a thump. Hit you in the gut. And those are the sound that I love with reggae music, and that's with reggae bass, and that's why even today I try to have a little of that if possible. But it's how you also play. A lot of bass player play, way back at the neck here, close up here, you get that popping sound. I play mostly down here.
Oh, okay.
So the tone is cooler.
Heck yeah,
deeper.
it is.
But you got
Nah, I mean, it's cooler than cool, man. There's so many musicians nowadays. Like Devin said, I myself and him, we're musicians and primarily in the reggae genre. So we know a lot of reggae bass players that, you are their hero for sure. And I just want to ask, what bass players did you kind of learn from or look up to, whether it was on Jamaica, in Jamaica or not, just in general?
Right. I love Family Man as reggae bass player. I just love how you play melodiously. Right. And there is Brevet. You know what I mean? His choice of notes that he used to go around the corner to come back around the next corner, why? I didn't look at it quite like that, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, it's not everybody play like Light Briffett,
Right.
And then there is Light Parks as a reggae player, have some interesting lines too as well, And then another note, I met a bass player here in Seattle and watched him play, and is one of the solidest bass players of all time, in my opinion. Named Ray Brown.
Wow.
You know of him? He's a jazz player. But in terms of solid, and each note, totally solid, and the rhythm, he don't miss the rhythm, you know what I mean, and he's right there, so, man, solid, So I look up to those cats.
Nice, man.
And
I have to ask him, Devin. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go
just
ahead.
because I'm a total, my hero's Jackie Matu. Were you able to meet Jackie? Have any stories or?
Yes,
anything?
yes, yeah, because he did all them songs at Studio One, and I saw him kind of briefly, not even know the name, you know what I mean? Just see him and know, oh, he's a keyboard player, they call him Jackie Me too, but don't really know him. And then our first tour as the Gladiators, we play at a place in London called the Vera Club back then. It was in the late 70s, right? In the Vera Club,
Okay.
you know, in London. And on the break, you know, he was standing right out on the side there and some other musicians, you know, but we busy getting through and on the way passing him said, Basie, that was excellent, man. Excellent job. You know, pat me on the shoulder, you know. Nice. And then when I got round here and sat down and I said, after we finished, me, I said, hold on. Yeah, that was jacking me too. He gave me a compliment. You know what I mean? So that was feather in my cap, you know. And also the keyboard player that played with us, that went on tour with us. What's his name again? They were friends. They used to play together. Not violin, that's guitars. Keyboard player, man. Good singer too.
Oh no.
Well, he did the first because our keyboard player at the time couldn't come with us, you know, and him have more experience
Was
too,
it
you know. No, it's not Glady.
I know he could sing too.
Oh, it's more an uptown cat. You know. But
I
Irish
get
cat.
you.
Richard Ace, man.
Richard Ace, nice.
Richard Ace.
Yeah, man.
Richard Ace. You know, so he and Richard Ace was talking and he was even telling Richard Ace, oh man, it's the bass player is prominent, man. He's doing some nice things up there. You know what I mean? So that was like, you know, and then Richard was telling me later on when we were driving going somewhere, you know, Jackie really love your bass playing, you know.
Nice, man.
So you know, and then you know, listening to some things that Jackie do, you know, oh boy, you know. He was good, and watch some video that him do some live performances, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it was good musician, you know.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So I'm honored to pass those musician paths, man.
No,
Right.
So they all helped me to be where I am today.
Of course, yeah.
And like you did for so many. Since I have so many more questions, but we're getting some comments coming in, and Ricky Han on Facebook or on YouTube actually he asks what's the secret to reggae bass lines? Robbie Shakespeare said it's matching the vocal. What's your take on this?
You know what? He's not wrong. You know, because I love melodies, and bass is like bass is sensual, you know, and it's also it's you know, it's the root melody of the rhythm. It's the root melody wise, and tonality too as well, along with the kick drum, you know, but the bass, you know, can take you different places and things like that. And once you stick with the vocal, you know, that's why, you know, it's nice when the melody from the vocal is good. Then the bass have a foundation to work off of.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense because, you know, you were talking about Family Man, and to me, one of the things about his bass playing is that you can always walk away humming it. It's like it's a catchy line, which is not always the case in a lot of different kinds of music. You know, it's like you don't always walk around where the bass is the catchiest thing in the whole song. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, there are two ways to approach that truth, because there are different ways where, okay, all right, you can set a bass line and then write some, but that's because I write songs though. You know what I mean? Like you make a rhythm and say, okay, you know, and then cipher what melody would fit on this rhythm, you know, and you can work it from that angle, and then at the end of it, you feel like everything went down together, you know.
Right.
But you have to be in relationship with both song and rhythm. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, like sometimes you see some artists come and the song have 3 chords, but they're singing 5 movements.
Yes,
You
I
know,
do know.
or the chords,
We know a couple
the
peeps,
chords
yeah.
is like five movements, and they're only singing 2 things.
Yeah.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Over the
definitely.
5 change, you know, and it doesn't fit. But hey,
That happened a
so
lot. If I
so
understand
it
like
is.
exactly what you're saying, that happened a lot in the early '80s and in the '80s in Jamaica more so than in the '70s. Like you'd
Right.
hear like in the dance hall where they put on like let's say it's the answer rhythm or something, and it's just two chords, but then the
Yeah.
singer's just like I'm gonna sing,
I'm gonna see.
I'm gonna sing a Beatles song over this, and it's
Right.
Yeah,
got nine
exactly.
chords, and you're like, all right,
Exactly.
cool,
Cool,
Exactly.
man.
do it.
Sometimes,
Exactly.
sometimes it's really cool, and sometimes it's
It
really not
is.
cool.
Sometimes it work.
Yeah.
Sometimes it work because there's also again reggae take from jazz quite a bit, blues, funk,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
all that. So sometimes it can give you a flavor like, oh, this gonna go jazz, and then it doesn't, and then it go back there again because it's repetitive. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
But something have to relate to the chord for it to work, because you
Yeah.
can still hold just a G chord wise, and you still end up on a six with your vocal. But you don't want to end up on a C sharp. You
Right, right.
understand what I mean?
Yeah,
Because then that's gonna be totally out.
yeah. You want
Right.
to
Yeah.
stay in the
Right.
key somewhat.
Yeah, somewhat, at least in the
A
scales, you
little
know what I
bit.
Right.
mean?
Right. Don't get too out
So,
there.
speaking of, we've been talking about the instrumental side of things, and maybe you could like shed some light on this for me. But as far as I've always understood, the Gladiators, one of the things that made Gladiators unique was that it was not just a vocal group, but a band, a self-contained band as well.
Right, right,
And you played bass and some guitar too, right? And
right.
so I've always wondered, did everyone? Because I've seen pictures, and it looks like some of you guys are playing instruments. And did everyone in the group play an instrument on the recordings, or was it a mix? Like, was everybody from you to drummy a gladiator, or was it a mix of gladiators and session players on the
It's a mix
recordings?
of gladiators and session players,
Right.
and sometimes we play very little on some recordings,
Okay. Gotcha.
or on certain songs we don't play at all. Other musicians play,
Right.
Right.
and that's for different sound, for different taste.
Did you ever find yourself playing on other artists' recordings? Like you assumed you wore the hat of like a session player. Were you doing that back in the day?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We do that for I do that for Ethiopians,
Mm-hmm.
Delroy Wilson,
Wow.
several artists actually.
Several.
Yabiu.
Yeah, but yeah.
I've done that for Scratch. We do a whole. I played on a whole. I played over by Scratch for like 6 months.
Mhm.
Almost 6 months straight, almost every day over there playing for different artists, play with different musicians.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? That was also I'm just a studio musician.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
at the time, right,
I
right.
got you. Got you. What's scratch like back then?
Not much different from it
Ah,
right now.
is it? Yeah.
You just eccentric and talented in his own way. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like
Right.
right. What I admire with Scratch back then is like you'll come in as a singer,
Mhm.
and you start singing, and he could tell right off the bat whether you're singing in your relaxing tone, or you need to push some more, or where you need to be.
Right.
He could quickly figure that out. Yeah, he
So a
could
real
quickly
producer.
figure that out.
Crazy.
Wow. You just mentioned the Ethiopians, and so I have to ask about that because Roger and I are big fans of the Ethiopians.
Right.
The band that I was in for years called the Expanders did some backing for Leonard Dillon in 2006 for his first Los Angeles show, and Roger played keys on that. I played guitar, and I just he's one of my favorite like top 3 artists of all time. And so since you mentioned it, I have to ask, like, what was your relationship like with Leonard?
Yeah. We were living in the same neighborhood,
Wow.
Washington Gardens. We were living in Washington Gardens when we just start as a self-contained group. Him used to come around there, come practice too, and we kind of all get together and just jam and have fun, and when we just start, professionally too, playing bass and things like that. He was one of the first cat that also do almost a whole album at Studio One. One Profit come, two
Two
Profit
Profit
come,
come,
da
yeah.
da da da, and there's a bunch of song on that I played on.
That's
Wow.
the Dread Prophecy record.
Right,
I was gonna ask you.
right.
I was gonna ask you about
Yeah.
that because
Most of those songs on there, Gladiators play
yeah. Well, so that was my question. How much of that record did you play on?
about 3/4 of it.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
Beautiful
great.
stuff,
That's,
man.
that's
yeah,
because it makes
yeah.
so much sense to me because in my head I've just always, without even reading the history of it, just musically I've always associated the Ethiopians and the Gladiators together, just because you guys were both writing heavy roots tunes that had a kind of similar vibe to them.
That and him and Albert, yeah, knew one another even before I know
Mm-hmm.
them.
Right.
Him and Albert, and I think they did a song. They did a 45 where this guy named Liebert Robinson, I think his name was, and he produced that thing for them. And I can't remember, but Albert did the B side one,
Yeah.
and Leonard did the A side.
I'm pretty sure that's Train to Scaville.
Chain to
Yeah,
Scaville.
and it's got the Albert on the other side doing like it's like You Are the Girl or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
like
no.
you got it.
Yeah,
you
yeah, no,
got it.
that's my
Right.
Ethiopians and Gladiators are like the two groups from that era that I just listened to.
Yeah,
and
same neighborhood.
nerd
Yeah.
out.
And if Leonard Dillon was good at putting something nice on a 2 cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
It's insane. Man.
So Gladiators were one of the first. Well, let's see. We talked a lot about Gladiators. I have one more Gladiators question. I know I started off by
We
saying
have to.
It's-
we always
well,
it's
the
all
gentleman's
good. It's
here.
all good.
We have him.
you probably heard me saying earlier that artists always get asked about their early stuff, and here I am doing it.
right. I
But
heard it.
so one of the ways that I and a bunch of my friends that were into reggae music kind of first found out about the Gladiators was through the I think it's called Deep Root. What's it called? Roots. I think it's just called Roots Reggae. The documentary where it's got the video
Oh.
footage of you guys recording Jaw Works in the studio.
Yeah, in the studio. It
Yeah,
was
and
at Joe Gibbs. I think it was done at Joe Gibbs.
So is that footage on that? You know the footage I'm talking about, right?
I know the one you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Is that actual footage of when you guys recorded Jaw Works? That's the take right there.
It was the time. It's not the same day. It's not the same day. But it's this time of the session. It's the same time at the session, the same week.
Right. Wow.
But the song was already recorded, and we did it we did what we did there mainly for the camera.
Oh.
Got you.
But we were actually singing for Trudeau. It's
Right.
not like what I mean. We were actually singing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, for everybody tuning in right now, if you have any questions you'd like us to ask Clinton for you,
Drop
please
them
leave them in
down.
the comments. Fatty J wants to know. He says, "Much love to the Fearons. Wondering, Clinton, who are some of your favorite contemporary reggae artists?"
Oh, I love Mike Love from Hawaii.
Oh yeah, I love my
Right. You have the Ethiopians from Spain.
Oh wow.
Let's see. And Alpha Blondy.
Nice.
Remember Alpha Blondy?
Mhm.
Right.
Nice.
I think
You
I
know.
think I saw a video of you doing some stuff on stage with Alpha Blondy.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did something together.
Yeah.
Right. Together again. It's called Together Again.
That's right.
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 That's crazy,
You know.
man. How's the
And,
reggae scene?
and there's a youth there, I think he's from England, that did, I love his vocal, Bitty McLean.
Mm-hmm.
I love his
Oh, yeah.
vocal. I love his vocal. I haven't gotten into the material itself,
Mm-hmm.
but I just love his vocal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now he's killer. He does a lot of the renditions of the older rocksteady stuff. Too,
Right.
so that's great stuff. How's the reggae scene in Seattle? Like, is it
Originally, Seattle is basically like a rock town.
right?
Right.
So it's not easy to have a huge reggae community on here.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, because I'm on here for a good while, we develop a following and have a good supportive audience here,
Right.
but we've been working on it for years, and many groups come and start, and then and it didn't go much further because it's hard to. You have to venture out to survive it here. You can't just do it here.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have to do something else and then be just a weekend musician.
Right.
I imagine
right.
that must be one of the biggest differences between being in the music scene in Jamaica versus trying to do it someplace like here that's so huge where to be able to play out you got to really travel and be gone from home for long periods of time, right?
Yeah, I forgot to travel. When you when the thing is when you are in Jamaica, you're looking you want somewhere to play and can't even find somewhere to play. You know what I mean? Or you play for nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because poor country and it's saturated with different artists, musicians, it's very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
We got some.
Here, here is people don't know. You have to let people know, and it's like and be patient and spread the word and develop something for yourself, which people don't have that patience.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they want it right away. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
So for that reason, doesn't work. In Jamaica, if you think you're good at something, you actually see it as a way out. Which was the case in the 70s. You're talking about 60s, 70s, when you're a musician and you figure, say, you know what, boy, you know what, people like me, boy, I'm doing this. You put all your whole heart and soul in it. Like I said, some fell by the wayside, because it's tough. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Definitely.
Fieber still stick it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's not easy. But because it's not easy, you write a certain kind of way too. You know what I mean? And again, because Jamaica is also how I say, big on gospel. Jamaica is big on gospel. Plenty churches in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So even if you don't go to church, you still hear one upside singing. And everybody can relate to a sweet tone of music. You know what I mean? Whether it be gospel, whether it be funk, blues. You know what I mean? Jazz, R&B. You know what I mean? It's like music. You know what I mean? But
Right.
so the churches lend a lot to us in terms of melody and even topics because of the Bible too. Especially back in them days.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's two ways to go about it. You either go from a spiritual standpoint, or you go from a ragamuffin standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Back in the day, it was really tough, man. Even the tough guy have it hard. It's like, damn, man, I either be a bad man or boy, serve God. And then it's just right in that time to that Rastafari gotten big. You know what I mean? In terms of, and everybody knows it, and it's spreading out of Jamaica and thing like that. So that's becomes also became a phenomenon. In a way. You know what I mean? And other writers are following that trend too, like Bob and several others. Just follow that trend, and Naya Bingi even step up on the because at first Naya Bingi was known not to be sold. You know what I mean? It's for free. And you show up and it's chant and prayers and if you're not clean, don't come about the place. You know what I mean? It's like clean on pure art. That kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And so at one point, some elder Rastas was saying that oh man, they're dirtying up the music. They're selling the music, Babylonize it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Today I think that tone has changed some still though,
Mm.
Because the thing is, what they use you preach to the choir. If you wanna save somebody else, from drinking, you go in the bar, go talk with them. You know what I mean? It's like so you take a whole another route. Now everybody there embrace. instead
Right.
of
Yeah.
instead of fight it.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
So
Totally.
So Clinton's got his guitar. We want to ask him to play a little bit.
Yes.
Right before we do that, maybe we'll take one more question because
I see a couple questions, man.
the
There's a couple
Scatolites
good ones out there.
Scatolites Band is actually on here.
Oh.
And they say from Scatolites Band, it says, "Big up Clinton. Washington Gardens is Stranger Cole's neighborhood. Did you ever work with Stranger Cole?"
No, I never work with Stranger Cole. But you know what? One of the best song in my days coming up, you know, Gladiators and Stranger did a song together. And to me, it's still one of the best duet come out of Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
Oh, I can't remember.
They did some really good ones, right? That was
Yeah,
a
'cause
really
they had
good
a-
combination.
It's a good one. It's a good. Maybe
combination.
okay. The same brethren who was asking the question there.
Yeah.
They probably know. They probably know him. Probably know,
Scatolites
man.
Band.
Oh,
Can
Scatolites
you
Band.
can you hum a little bit of it? or you don't
It was Glady, and I'm trying to remember even the melody.
Did it start with horns? I'm trying to think. I can't sing. How much? Ba-dum-bum-bum. They did a lot. That's the problem, right there.
Man, it's on my tongue,
Yes.
and I can't come with the thing,
Right.
you know.
When you think of it, we'll go live again, and
Yeah,
just
we'll do this
boom.
all.
Okay,
And then we'll go
okay,
off.
call you
okay.
Because
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, it would be definitely great to have you on again. Because there's just not enough. We could talk for the whole day.
I
so.
know we could talk
gotta
for a
have you on
long
again
time.
for
yeah,
sure.
Well, we got some time still, so
We
maybe
still got some time. We're not cutting it
how
out.
would you feel about playing the song for us, Clinton?
Okay, yeah. We can do that. We can do that. Let me see which one I should do. You know. Okay. This one entitled "We Don't Know It Yet."
Nice.
Don't know the answer to all the questions. No, we don't know the solution to all the problems. Oh no. Some of us think that we know everything, and therefore we have the right to make all the rules. Some of us think that we know everything and more, and so we have the right to break all the rules. But what life is worth, we don't know it yet. We don't know it yet. Oh, we don't know it yet. Oh, we don't know it yet. Now. Ooh. Bad intention, no good direction, confusion. I'm not satisfied, no. Bad invention, too much corruption, conclusion. I'm not satisfied. Satisfaction won't come until still. So no need to cry, no. Satisfaction won't come until still I've got to try. Long time we get warning, we take no heed. Long time we get spanking, planting great seed. Long time struggling, screaming. Too late to retreat. Long time coming, global warming. Who will take the heat? We don't know it yet. Oh, we don't know it yet. We don't know it yet. Oh, we don't know it yet. Now. Oh, ooh. Steady down. City, wah, yeah. Steady down, baya. Ibidi badi baya, baya. Oh, we don't know it yet. We don't know it yet. Oh, we don't know it yet. We don't know it yet. Now. Oh,
Yeah, man.
Oh man, that's so good.
all right.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Can you give us a little backstory on that song?
Oh, this one is about, how talking about what's going on Earth, and how we're not paying attention to Mother Nature, you know what I mean? And I like the verse that said there, what the one I'm looking for, we
don't know it.
we don't know it yet.
Catherine mix.
Yeah. Satisfaction? No. The line I'm looking for.
The global.
Man, I have it. Yeah. That thank you very much. That section, the whole of that section is writing about how, professional not playing, some people, who love the mountain and love to ski and things like that, and notice that the ice is gone, coming back, said stories. Oh, yeah. Then later on, professional doctors go make tests, Yes, we're having a problem, Okay, this is my way of putting my little spin and all that, because I watch the thing going to North too as well.
Right. Well, that's a great song.
And this song can be found on I think it's on Goodness. I think it's on
Nice.
Goodness.
Yeah,
My wife is here laughing at me, She know that, them things I don't remember.
Oh
She's
no.
cracking up.
You and me both, man.
Oh boy.
so, a lot of people in the comments are trying to they're making guesses about what that Stranger and Gladys song you mentioned might be. Some people some people think it might be Just Like a River.
That's not. Yeah, that's the one, man.
That's the one.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
got
the
it
one.
right.
That's the one.
Whoa.
That's the one. I think it's one of the most beautiful duet that come out of Jamaica. That's my opinion. Maybe because it hit me from early, you know what I mean, in my young days, like, wow, and really love singing, and yeah, that's good right there.
Stranger and Gladys had a crazy blend together. I always
It's
felt.
true, man.
Because they do songs like they did Try Me One More Time and Make Good. People were guessing if that was it maybe, and a song called Over Again. And they had this blend where it's like sometimes you get two singers where maybe neither one of them is like the greatest singer of all time, but they come together and they create something with their harmonies that's that's
Right,
you know,
exactly.
the whole,
No
Super
other
unique.
can, right?
yeah,
That
and those
texture's-
two I felt like had a perfect blend. I love
You're
listening to
totally
them.
right.
Yeah.
Totally
And
right.
so you could tell, like you could tell that they were homies. You could tell that they were like really good friends off, you know,
Oh yeah, they were good
outside of
friends,
music.
man.
You
They
know?
visit them one another all the time and thing, you know.
Right, exactly.
What so you just played an acoustic tune and you've got several amazing acoustic records. And what inspired what inspired the shift to kind of to doing so much acoustic recording and performing? Because I always wonder why. I mean, it seems like an obvious thing because you're a great singer, you play guitar and you can write songs, but so few artists actually do it. Like a lot of the Jamaican
Right.
artists that were from the Foundation era that are still going. People like Cornell Campbell, and there's a big list of people that are still going strong. They're all still doing full band stuff, and I always wonder
Right.
why you don't see more acoustic stuff. So I was wondering what inspired that for you.
Well, for me, the thing is, I look at the song, and sometimes you can observe and see that, sometimes the many instrumentation, unless it's done well, sometimes can take away from the song itself. You know what I mean? Like a bass line or a horn line, and it's in the front, in the forefront, and the lyrics and of the song get hidden in the back. Plus, one of the most beautiful times is when you and your guitar, you and your piano or whatever, that alone working out the song, and it's beautiful. There's no pretense there. Everything is like raw, and sometimes we miss that. At the end of the day, you don't have that. The other thing too is that it's not really everyone can do it. Because you get made. It's like today days, it's even more so. Back in the day, you can't fix the thing. You have to go sing it over to make it right. Today you can auto tune it. You can da 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 da. So the more singers get into the auto tune thing and thing like that, they will be having problem when they go to do something live, especially just by themselves. The other thing is not everyone can trim themselves down to say, hey, here is humble little me. You know what I mean? Because everybody's so pump up and so big star that they can come down and play a little acoustic guitar because that don't pump them up enough. There is that too.
Good point.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. We have a question from Alvaro P about the Gladiators days, and she wants to know, she wants to know, how did you meet Gallimore and Albert?
I met first one I met was Albert, but I met Albert through Errol Grandison. Errol Grandison, who was a member of the Gladiators at the time.
Right.
It was Errol Grandison, David Weber, and Albert Griffiths. Weber got away in the head, and so it was just two of them. So I learned when Errol Granton stopped off my house, I was bringing on my little guitar, and he stopped, look over the fence, introduced himself, came in, we sang some things together, and he said, well, I think I would be good. I would be a good addition to the group. I would be a good member. So I went and tell Albert, and Albert come later on, a week or so later, and was been a Gladiators for 18 years after that.
Right.
and then after a while, Errol Grandison left because things were rough. We did a couple of songs with Errol Grandison, which is for Light on Matador label for Light Daily.
Freedom Train, was that?
Right, Freedom Train and Rockaman Soul.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And then he couldn't take the runnings. It was too tough, boy, no money making, nothing's going on. So he quit. And then it was just Albert and myself alone for a while there. And then Gallimore came along after. Right.
Do you I always look, just as being as a big Gladiators fan, I always look for info, and I can't find anything about Albert Griffiths currently. I mean, do you know anything about what's going on with Albert?
Currently, I don't know. Currently, I don't know. Much earlier on, I tried to got close, and it's like, I keep getting pushed off, like no one don't want, or him don't want people to seem like he is, or they don't want you get that close. So say, okay, that's how it is. I ease off.
Yeah.
But every now and then I will ask somebody who I would think is close, and they don't know much either. So I don't know. I know that he's living in St. Elizabeth.
That's how Devin is to me. I try to hit him up and he pushes me off. He does. Devin's always. Tell us about the Boogie Brown Band. Tell us about, when you made that switch and the creation of that band. How did that band come about?
Well, when I was going with Defenders like for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
A group here called Defenders for 5 years.
Okay.
With members of Gladiators, and then it was going kind of the same way Gladiators was going. No one don't want to go a little further, you know what I mean, and
Gotcha.
put in the much, So when I see that things were stagnant and things like that, I gave my my warning that man, if we're not moving, I'm gonna have to move on, because I need to be able to move. I can't just be stagnant,
Right.
So after 2 years, I quit. I started to give my warning 3 years into it, and after 2 years, I quit. And then I get musicians from right here. Some of the young musicians, most of them just coming out of school, jazz players,
Wow.
but they love what I'm doing, love the music and thing. So I be patient and let them do them thing and try to guide as much as possible. And then many musician comes, many musician goes, but each time that we reconfigure, it's always a little better, which is a good thing.
Right. Definitely. Well, they sound like, I mean, they understand the reggae music really well. I know
The
you
Boogie
say
Brown
they come
Band?
from, yeah. Oh yeah. It's, I mean, it's so beautiful to see you just keep going. A lot of artists from Jamaica, especially early Jamaica, you're always talking about, oh yeah, when they played music. And so it's just so beautiful when you see an individual throughout the whole timeline. You stay with it and play music, and not just do it, but do it wonderfully, man. You sound amazing just right now. It sounded amazing.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, man. Well, I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you can
That's
tell
the key.
that is very evident.
That's the key.
Speaking of sounding beautiful, Marissa says,
Ooh, Marissa.
I'll put her little comment up. She says, "Play us a song, please."
Yes.
So I don't know. Maybe do you want to sing another song, or you want to keep talking? I could do either. Either.
Okay, I'll play another song. Let's see here.
You're backstage, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you backstage?
No,
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
backstage. I'm here. Yeah.
Okay.
This one, one old time Gladiators one entitled "I'm Not Crying."
Yeah.
I'm not crying now. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. Soon be on my feet again. I'm not crying now. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. Soon be on my feet again. I've been abused and locked away. Away. I'm feeling those pains even until this day. But even so, I won't go astray. Cause I be sitting at my master's side. I'm not crying now. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. Soon be on my feet again. I'm not crying now. I'm not crying. again, soon be on my feet again. Plodding, 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 plodding. Oh, blessed Savior, hold my hands, my hands. Show us the way and let us stand now. Lucifer is strong, but he won't catch me. He won't catch me, 'cause I've been sitting on my master's side. I'm not crying now. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. Soon be on my feet again. I'm not crying now. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. Soon be on my feet again. And I'm planning. 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 And I'm planning.
Yes.
Beautiful.
All right.
Beautiful, man.
Was that on the Gladiators album? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was on one of them. I can't remember which one of the album it was on.
I've heard that song many times, but I can't remember what album it was on.
Yeah. I can't remember either. I want to think that it's naturality, but maybe not. You know what? I want to get myself in trouble here. I don't remember which one of the album it's on. You know.
I wanted to start playing keyboards right here. I got like surrounded by keyboards, man. I wanted to jump in. No, I definitely won't. Because I'd be mad at myself. Oh man, we gotta have definitely an edition where you do more music, man. Because it's just this is
thank you, man.
You know, and keep doing the live streams. Do you have any plans? Anything coming up?
Yes, I do actually. You know, because I have a little note here because you know sometimes I can't remember things off the top of my head. So, my wife is cracking up at me again here. You know, but you know, we have the you know what we call we start doing something like for this coming up is we had 2 editions already. One coming up on the 10th. You know, Mother's Day.
Okay.
You know, my wife and I were doing this live stream thing every other Sunday.
Nice.
You know, right? And we're getting really good tractions from it, you know, and the beautiful thing about it, you know, people sending just like they're doing here now, you know, sending in how much wonderful it is and how much fun they're having and they're glad to be with us. And to be honest, man, it's like feeding for us too, you know, because we're not getting to do gigs, you know, so to be here and learn that, you know, from all over the globe, you know, people are tuning in and you feel like they're right here with us, you know, it's a wonderful thing, you know, it's really filled my heart. Really filled my heart. So the 10th we'll be doing that. And then just before I'm on top of this right now.
please go for it.
And we have been also something doing for Italy, you know. Let me look up my notes. But we'll talk about this Monday coming. Monday coming we'll make some notes about it, some advertisement about it.
Well, I've been loving your live streams because they're getting it.
We love it.
My wife's laughing and she's cocking. She know I'm not good at this, you know what I mean? So she's laughing. She's laughing at me, you know what I mean? But, you know. Hey.
I'm not good at that stuff either.
We're, none of us are good at it.
None of
so.
us are good at that.
Oh, boy, you know. And I may keep notes, you know, and I can't follow my notes.
Yeah, I got the notes in front of me.
Oh, boy.
Well,
You
I
know.
recommend everybody tune into Clinton Fearon's live streams because they've been really really great. Like they've been so good. And you know,
Yeah,
it's
top stuff.
the live stream. I don't know how you feel about it, but I mean, you know, obviously it's not taking the place. It's not the same thing as playing a concert. But there's something about it that, you know, I've done a few. Roger's done a few on our own, and there's something about it that was kind of surprising to me about how enjoyable it was. To when you have all these
Right,
people tuning in from all around the world, and it's different and in a
Yes,
good way.
yes.
And how have you been
In a
enjoying the
good
live
way.
stream thing?
In a good way, you know. It's easy to feel alone, but if you can just be imaginative, you know what I mean? And imagine that all those people are right here with you. You know what I mean? Because they are there in the spirit, basically. You know, so just look at the spiritual side of it, and they're right here with you. From that standpoint, you know, and just hearing how it hitting other people makes you feel good too. You know, yeah, you miss having the crowd, you know, right there in front of you physically, and you know, watch the sweat falling when they dance and so forth, and sweat down from yourself too as well. But this is a whole nother cup of tea, and equally appreciated.
Right.
And it's crazy how sudden, right? It's not like it was a gradual shift to this being the norm.
I
It was just
know,
literally
I know.
overnight that, you know,
I
it's like
know.
this acceptable thing to do that everyone is really
Yeah.
really excited about. It's crazy.
And you don't even know where you know when it's, you don't even
Right.
know when what's gonna happen.
Right.
You never know what's gonna happen. You know.
Because the governor of California here was on TV a couple days ago saying that, you know, the stages of reinstating, you know, normal life and concerts are going to be one of the last things to come back, you know, so they don't know
Yeah.
if that means,
Stage
it's
4.
just so vague. We don't know if that means next year.
We
And when they
don't
say
know.
concert, what does that mean? Do they mean, you know, the Rolling Stones at Staples Center, or do they mean, you know, the kind of shows
Right.
we play where it's a few hundred people? Like what is
Right.
it, you know? So it's
Right.
it's stressful. So
Exactly.
it's nice to have
Exactly.
these live streams to
Yeah.
watch.
Hey, just a little backtrack here. You know, the thing on Monday, Monday it will be early in the morning. It's like a.m. my time.
Okay.
You will just announce something. honey.
But we're just gonna announce something. You know, but
Oh, nice.
oh, she's laughing at me again. Oh boy.
See, she laughed and you laughed and I laughed.
I laugh.
Contagious. I love it.
Oh boy,
love
I
it.
know what's happening. I know what's happening. Hey, give me just a minute.
Yeah.
Give me just a
Go
minute,
for it.
please.
Go do your thing.
Go for it. Devin, how crazy is this, man?
This is,
How
I don't
crazy
even
is
want to
this?
stop.
I don't want to stop.
We should.
We're gonna have to wrap it up, but gee whiz, man. We're
I
gonna
think.
have second
I
edition,
think when
third
he
edition.
when he comes back, we'll
Yeah,
ask him
man.
if he wants to play one more tune, because Valeria keeps asking for "Can You
Valeria.
Imagine How I Feel,"
Okay.
and that's a great one. I'd love to hear that. I have so many more questions that we should probably just save to have him on a second time.
Definitely,
you know.
definitely.
Plus,
yeah, and we will.
but we want to mention to everybody, you know, that's tuning in. Thank you for tuning in, and if you feel like making a donation that goes directly to support the artist, it's you can make one at rootfire.net/TV. Also, the Venmo is Rootfire. You can Venmo at Rootfire.
yeah, man.
You know,
Oh.
like we were just talking about, concerts have been canceled. People like Clinton, people like Roger and myself.
Oh, look it! There's a ticker that says all about it right now.
Oh, imagine
Oh,
that.
wow! Where did that come from? What should that have been up this whole time? I don't know. Maybe not, but it's there now.
Yeah,
Like
you know,
Devin said.
like we were saying, you know, the people like Clinton have not been able to play shows, and so donations are really appreciated.
Are they cooking in there?
I think they're cooking. They're making
Let me get a bite. Sounds like they're cooking.
yeah.
Sorry,
Catherine
Devin's
had a
right.
birthday the other
Donations.
day. No,
and
that's it.
this
That's it.
this isn't just like, okay, you know, me and Devin trying to do this for the money, but we like artists like Clinton performing, man. We want to, you know, donate and just keep the ball rolling. You know, there's different stages in this quarantine thing. I think when it first happened, everyone's doing their live thing and everyone's performing. We want that to keep going because it's such a beautiful thing. So it's not done in vain. Your guys' donations are definitely helping out and going to the right places. So thank you for that. Yes, he's
Man,
back.
sorry about that.
That's okay.
That's okay. Did you
That's
go?
all right.
Did you go have dinner real quick?
Yes. I have dinner.
Nice.
Well, So we were just saying how we
You
could.
don't have dinner yet.
You know what? Can she cook? Can your beautiful girl come on the camera real quick? The audience has to see her.
Catherine,
She's part of the interview now.
they're inviting you to come on here. So
Catherine, just
Yeah, but I will not hear.
just to say hi. Just to
just
say hi.
to say
real quick.
hi. Just to say hi.
We've all heard the voice
Say
to put a face to
hi.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, the beautiful queen.
This is Clinton Fearon.
Yeah, this is, without her, man, I don't know what I would do. She's my right arm
There you go.
and my right leg and my right
Yeah.
and my right everything.
There you go.
Yeah,
yeah,
big up
yeah.
Catherine. She
Big
just
up.
had a
That
birthday.
was nice, though.
Yes.
Yeah, big up.
Very
So,
interesting.
so
Yeah.
do you want to play? You want to leave the people with one more
You want
song?
to play
We've
something?
Okay.
we've had a consistent request for "Can You Imagine How I Feel?" I don't know how you feel about playing that one.
Oh, okay, see. I will try. Let me gather my thought here.
Yeah, yeah.
No problem.
Meanwhile, this is my dad here asking what's for dinner.
Love it. I love it. Give him props.
All right, I'm gonna try.
All right, you got it.
Hey, na 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 na. Can you imagine how I feel? Hey, na 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 na. Can you imagine how I feel? All day, all night, working to earn my honest bread, but all that I achieved is sourness, bitterness, and pain. Violence won't win the fight, so with faith I've got to hold on tight. Hold on and never let go. With my shoulder to the wheel, hurt and pains I've got to squeal. Can you imagine how I feel? Uttering sounds I heard from my master. Hold on tight and never let go. Wait until the day of harvest. Its brighter shall be and the devil's chest. They shall be like dog to their vomit. Then I shall be fit and fit. In my hip there'll be a weapon stick to chase the devil and his hosts. Hey, na 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 na. Can you imagine how I feel? Oh, na 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 na. Can you imagine how I feel? Uttering sounds I heard from my master. Hold on tight and never let go. Wait until the day of harvest. Its bright that shall be and the devil's chest. They shall be like dogs to their vomit. Then I shall be fit and fit. In my hip there'll be a weapon stick to chase the devil and his host. All day, all night, working to earn my honest bread. All that I achieved is sourness, bitterness, and pain. Violence won't win that fight, so with faith I've got to hold on tight. Hold on and never let go. With my shoulder to the wheel, hurt and pains I've got to squeal. Can you imagine how I feel? Hey, na 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 na. Can you imagine how I feel? More questions than answers. Na 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 na. Can you imagine how I feel? Hey, na 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 na. Can you imagine how I feel? One question and answers.
Yes.
That's as much as I can
Beautiful.
remember.
That's so good. That's
Beautiful, man.
such a great song.
Thank
It's like
you.
Gladiators tunes, like Clinton Fearon tunes and Gladiators tunes. They like we were talking about like some of the studios, like Studio One and Treasure Isle, having an identifiable sound. It's like I feel like the Gladiators and Clinton songs have that. Like you could just hear a melody, and I could never. Maybe I never heard the song before, and someone else is covering it, and I would know, oh, that's a Gladiators tune. Because of, like, it's just like
Yeah, I
this
understand
melodic
what you
thing. Like
mean.
the songs go in places you don't expect them to go. It's so good.
Oh, thank you very much, man.
This is
Thank
so
you
good,
very
man.
much.
And
Well-
I can't get over his voice, Devin. His voice is like,
So good.
like I said, it's unique, right? Because we're fans of old school reggae. So a
Yeah,
lot of the
yeah.
old school artists, some that still perform or whatnot over the past however many years, you can hear, the voice change,
Right.
but you still love it because it's still there. And I'm
Exactly.
saying this not just because you're on the show. Your voice is powerful as ever and it sounds beautiful.
Oh man,
So,
thank you,
yeah,
man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it sounds the same.
Thank
It
you.
really
same.
sounds the same. I feel like I feel like when you sing with the correct technique from early, you can have your voice your whole life. It doesn't have to go away.
That's the thing, is that being you is very important. Being who you are, you know what I mean, and it's very important
Right.
because then and me too is like I try to do a good job at each time by writing songs, singing them. I try to do my best. I don't compete with no one. If any competition is my own self, you know what I mean? So and that's why I can go up there and do this too with my guitar because hey, this is me. And if I mess up, I laugh at myself, which I will mess up because I'm human. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I laugh at myself first,
Totally.
That's one of the
yeah,
secrets
and then
to
my
life.
wife laugh at me next.
That sounds familiar. Okay, so we're gonna have to wrap things up, I think, soon because we want to have you back another time. And
Yeah.
But I do want to close it out with one question. My
Yeah.
good friend Blake Cawley just got on here.
Blake.
One of the great LA reggae drummers, plays in a group called the Lions. Played some stuff with the Expanders, and he's a great drummer. And
Right.
he says big ups to Clinton, and he says as a bass player, who are some of your favorite JA and reggae drummers that you've worked with?
Oh man, work with some good drummers. Slide here is one. I love. Slide. Innovative, much more innovative as time goes. But if you listen to something when they were skin, flesh, and bone,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just
Impact.
4 of them.
Yeah.
Right. They play some things back then, man, wicked. With Light Parks and bass, Ranchy and guitar. Tarzan and keyboards, Tarzan Errol Nelson and keyboards, 4 of them, you know what I mean, Skinfish and Bones, bad, and just, like in studios. And then you have CM Arsmouth there. Arsmouth is also another great drummer, that a lot don't, they tend to probably look at his attitude more so than the music, but it's a badass drummer.
Yeah, he is.
Ars is a badass drummer. The only thing, attitude might get in the way and the consistency, you know what I mean? Okay, all right, you know what I mean? But when him settling, in bad and in style, Santa is also a good drummer. Like a good drummer when him settling too and just settling and playing,
He lives here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Who again? And then there is Carly, with Carly that was in a different zone there, him and Family Man together, like they're a unit together. You know what I mean? Carly have some of the most outlandish rolls, you know.
Yep. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's true.
And crashes, you know what I mean? Right, you know. And then there's again you have Mikey Boo, you know, who also was a good drummer too. You know, I don't know what he's doing these days, you know what I mean? But you know, there was some good drummer. Winston Carter also was a good drummer too. He used to play with us in the early days. You
I
know.
don't think I ever heard of him.
Yeah, he was a good drummer, man. He was our first drummer.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
We play several things at Studio One day and things like that. When we just put the band together, he was a drummer.
That's
That's
amazing.
so important, right? The drum and bass relationship is so
Very
important.
important, man. Very, very important, man.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
it's question and answer. You know, that's basically what it is. And, you know, either the drum asking the question and the bass answer, or the bass asks the question and the drum answer. You know, but that's what music is, though. It's like, you know, a combination of music, of sounds put together. You know what I mean? Everybody don't ask a question at the same time. Some listen while some answer, while some ask, while some answer. You know what I mean? It's like you have your space. You know, it's important for the space. What I found, you know, interesting is like there's a lot of musicians, you know, that are afraid of the space. The space is very important in reggae music. In music on a whole. Because I give the ears time to absorb, you know, collect all the all the nutrients in there, boom, and then you hear something again, and you can process, you know.
Yeah.
When a lot of things going on at the same time, you know, it's hard to process it all.
Right.
That's true.
That's crazy, especially with basses, right? I mean, don't you agree that when the bass doesn't play, it's just as important when the bass does play? You know.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know,
Yeah.
it's the space is important, and then how you deliver, you know, and how you respect the space, you know, is also come true when you're playing.
Right.
Because you know you can chill and you know say well okay, and when you come boy you let it loose and you ease off again and make the next person speak, you know.
Right.
Your time come and you speak again diligently and you ease off again. Respect each other's space, you know. Percussions are like that too. You know, I remember when I used to play over scratch, you know, play bass over there, and sometimes Scotch and I, you know, and maybe sometime and him kid, you know, or sometimes two other musicians, all four of us will be playing, you know, and I play a ping, Scotch play a pong, you know, and then I play the ping, 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 pong, ping, pong, pong, ping, ping, pong, 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 ping, and
Right.
and that going through the whole thing, and it creates a rhythm all by itself
Right.
to coincide with what's already there.
Right. Amazing words, man.
Music is wonderful, man.
I love it.
It really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Well, Clinton, I mean, like Devin said, we got to have you on again, man. This has just been amazing.
Yeah,
and-
we'll do it again another
and
time,
this
man.
is
We'll do
just-
it again.
It's so cool. I mean, the fans are loving it, and definitely
great.
it's so exciting. And thank you,
Good.
big thank you,
Man, most
for
welcome.
coming on,
most
man.
welcome.
And
Most
where
welcome.
where can people catch your live feeds at? Is there a website? Is there something they should go to?
There's a website. There's you go to Facebook,
Okay,
right?
Facebook.
Clinton Fearon Music,
Perfect.
and Facebook. You know, check it out. You know, YouTube.
Okay.
Instagram. It's Instagram. You know.
I like it.
You know, just check the tube. You know.
Yeah, and
Swim.
we'll,
Start
we'll
swimming
post
out
the
there.
link too. We'll
Yeah,
post the link from our-
just check all the things there that you can
Right.
see things on. You know, man. I'm
Right on, man.
almost sure that you know we'll be there. You know.
Right.
and I really can't advise enough to the people listening who haven't seen Clinton's live streams. They're really, really great. You've heard him
Yeah.
play some songs tonight, and it's like that for a couple hours. It's great. My wife and I and the dog just sit and watch it on Sunday afternoons. it's
That's
great.
sweet.
What
That's sweet.
and where else can people go to just support Clinton Fearon music at the moment?
Let's go ClintonFearon.com. You know, ClintonFearon.com, and then there are branches. where you can you go there from this, from that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
definitely. You start there, and you end up on YouTube somewhere.
Oh man.
Roots,
Some
we
crazy
know
place.
You,
it. Not
you go to the
branches.
you go to the root and then you'll find the branches there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So everybody in the comments who's still requesting songs, I just would say go check Clinton Fearon Music on Facebook, and you'll see his live streams that he's doing. What is it? Once every other week now on Sunday?
every other week. It will be the next one is on the 10th,
All right, May 10th.
which is next week Sunday.
Yes. So everyone go check that out. It's the best live stream on the internet right
Oh,
now.
thank you, man. Thank you,
Seriously.
man.
Well, thank you so much, Clinton. I just can't thank you enough for coming on. This has been
Most welcome,
Yes, thank you so
brother.
much. Yeah, man.
and thank you to Catherine.
Yeah.
Catherine?
Now,
Yeah,
go
Catherine,
Yeah.
brethren, them saying many thanks,
Hey,
and said
yeah,
to
you're
continue
most
laugh
welcome.
at me.
It's not hard.
Well, right on, man.
All right.
So we're gonna let you go, Clinton.
Okay,
Thank you once
man.
again, and until
All
next
right.
time, we're gonna set up another one. And
Okay.
again,
Okay.
thank you, man.
All
See
right.
you,
Cool.
brother.
Cool.
Bye-bye.
all right.
Devin, that's crazy, right?
Oh man, that was so good. I didn't want it to stop.
I didn't either. We actually went over a lot, which
Way
is
over,
cool.
but
which
it's
is
the
really
thing.
cool. Big shout outs to Reed for letting us do this, Rootfire, and the whole cast. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's kind of lax, right?
We're not gonna always go almost 2 hours like this, but
No.
when you have someone like Clinton Fearon on, you can't
You have to.
you can't just arbitrarily end the conversation.
Yes, no, that's a legend right there. And
I have so many more questions I want to ask, so we got to have him back on next
Yeah.
time.
definitely,
Again,
that was chapter 1.
that was the first one. So what do we have coming up?
What, do we have
Roger, I know
coming
you
up?
got some stuff coming up. What do you got coming up before we sign off here?
Boom. Got a couple things,
Oh,
right?
Look at that.
Got the slide for it. I was ready for it. Boom. Well, first of all, next week we're gonna have Nate from Ioterra come in here. Is that correct?
That's I'm a brethren that.
And so that's gonna be cool. Like I said, like we've been saying, we're trying to mix it up, do some really cool old school artists that have just so many cool stories of back in the day, like Clinton, and then we're trying to inject that with the new school environment. And Ioterra's doing their thing, man. You see them on all kinds of bills, and just a great band. So Nate's gonna come in here and chop it up with us. Once again, we can't say this enough. Long Beach Dub All Stars got a new album coming out May 29th.
Yes,
Devin and myself are in the Long Beach Dub All Stars.
we are.
So we're stoked on this record. Mark it on your calendar and do the Spotify or whatever. Do people still download from iTunes?
I don't
Or
know, but they
no?
should. If you don't do it to listen, just do it to support anyway, because it
Please
means
do.
that stuff goes so far. And I'm so glad that this album was supposed to come out in April originally, and then it was supposed to be out like last summer. Like we've been waiting for this album to come out for so long. So the fact that it's like really just around the corner, I'm so stoked for it because I love the record. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's banging, dude. You guys are gonna love it. Myself, I have.
Yeah, what you got coming up?
I've been doing this thing with Jason Mraz, recorded on his he has his own studio on his camp. He calls it the Maranch, and we recorded a whole reggae album that's gonna come out. He released a single, and we also did this private party thing where they shot really good live footage. It was almost like a little private concert, and just today they released the single, but in a video form, so you get to see us all in there performing it live on his Maranch, and really good video quality, really dope song, really good cast of players. So I'm really stoked to be a part of that. Devin,
Nice.
Tuesdays.
Yeah, so last week was the first episode of the songbook sessions where I'm doing a regular acoustic live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time right here on rootfire.net/TV. And just like we were talking about with Clinton, these live stream things they went from like before the first one I did, I was like, okay, well, this is I guess this is what everyone's doing. I should probably like try this out.
Right.
And then it went from that to like I just am super looking forward to them every week because there's something really special about it. People are tuning in, they're requesting songs, you get to talk, like this, and I'm kind of like an extrovert, and like you said last week, both of us are kind of like chatty Cathys, and
Chatty Cathy.
it's kind of that's one of the parts I miss most about being out and playing shows is talking to people,
Right.
and just having that interaction. So it's like it's a way to interact musically.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's great because I'm the kind of person that's just always walking around singing, even when I don't know it. And my wife's like, "I'm trying to sleep. Like, can you stop singing?" So this is like an opportunity for me to actually like play some music.
Right,
And no one can tell me to shut up.
Yeah, you gotta.
They
go
can
to
tune
bed,
out
dude.
if they want, but they can't tell me to
4 in
shut
the
up.
morning, bro. You gotta do that. Save it for Tuesday. Now, I really like tuning in to Devin's show. I mean, I could go on and on, right? He's a great songwriter.
Thanks.
And like Clinton said, it takes a certain kind of person to. The microscope is on you. So, you and your guitar, you and your instrument, not many people can do that. So tune in Tuesdays to Devin's show. It's a really, really good one. A couple things here. We have the website that I talked about earlier. Please, please, please go. Go right now. There's like I guarantee you in our playlist, there's songs that you've never heard before. I guarantee you. Go ahead, Devin.
Well, sorry. Well, I was probably going to say what you were about to say. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the episode, but what we've Roger and I have decided to start putting together a playlist, which you can find at the website there on the screen, the reggaepodclash.com.
Mm-hmm.
And, because on the show, we're only playing little snippets of the tunes, so you don't have to sit here and stare at our faces nodding for 3.5 minutes while you listen to a song. What we've decided to do is every week, in addition to the tunes of the week, so Roger selects a song from his record collection, I select one from mine, and we talk about it. We're going to tell you a week in advance what those tunes are, and you can find those tunes in a playlist along with some other random songs we've picked that we just like and want to share at our website.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, you can, it's kind of like Roger's analogy was like Book of the Month Club or something. It's like,
Yeah, like
you
Oprah
can
has, right? Or something
yes.
like that.
So you know what the songs are. This week you can go listen to them. And then that way when we talk about it next week, maybe you'll be a little bit more invested, have some questions of your own maybe that we didn't think of, just so we can all be more on the same page. Because some of the tunes we're picking are on the rare side, and things we've discovered. And one of the main points of this podcast is just sharing music. So you can find those playlists at the website there.
Check it out.
And so if you go right now, you will see the 2 tunes that we've selected for next week are up on there.
Yes, so you get a little jump on what we're going to talk about, and it'll become more relevant to you because you've listened to it, taken it in and stuff.
Yeah. And I suggest, because we're going to redo that playlist every week, so I suggest, if you like stuff, go into the playlist and add it to your own playlist. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
make your own with it. And that's what I do when I find like good YouTube uploaders that are putting up killer stuff from their record collection. I take the songs I like and just add them to my own kind of customized playlist.
Right.
So we hope we can provide those tunes for everybody.
Exactly. That's how it all starts. You're like, oh, I heard this new tune. Where'd you hear it from? Oh, Reggae PodClash. What's Reggae PodClash? Oh, a couple dudes doing their thing. And above all, we want to know what's cracking. We want your input, really. I mean, because we're doing this. This is a second show. We're new at it. We just want to know, how should we keep doing it? Like, do you want us to tweak anything? What do you like to see? What do you think about the guests we have so far? Things like that.
Who would you like to see on the show?
Yeah, who would you like to see? The cool thing about Devin and myself is that we've been, we are musicians, and we've been doing this thing for a little bit. So we have different connections and whatnot. I mean, I can call Sting up. I might call Sting up after this. I don't know yet. But
I think you should call Sting up.
I'll call Sting up. We'll get Sting on next week. Come on, Sting. But yeah, I mean, it's not just throw some people out there. We'd love to get them on, and we are going to get them on. We're going to get tons of, and there's a long list of people that we want to have through come here.
We got some cool stuff in the works too.
Yeah. So any comments or critiques, or if you just want to, tell us a joke.
Where can they send those comments and critiques?
And yeah, your first critique could be like, Raj, come on, you got to get on these slides. The Reggae PodClash at gmail.com. So.
There it is.
Yeah.
And we have an Instagram now, right? I saw that you made one.
We do
today.
have an Instagram. And I didn't make the slide.
Well, that's okay. You don't need to slide it.
I was working on the website. But it's real easy. Everything. We've been so fortunate that there's no other competition as far as the Reggae PodClash.
Nope,
So
you just jinxed it.
If you go to Instagram, the Reggae PodClash. That's all.
The Reggae PodClash on Instagram. Good name.
Straight ahead. We're going to try to populate that. And we want to populate that with some stuff that usually Devin or myself don't post on our own individual ones. We got a lot of really cool ideas. So stay tuned. We're going to get an email list going, so you can join that and everything. But yeah, man, it's been a long show, almost 2 hours.
All right. Well, then maybe we'll sign off. Please, everybody, tune in next week. Please tell your friends. Share. Spread the word. We're trying to build this thing mainly because, like we keep saying, our mission is to just spread reggae music, share, our love of old school Jamaican music, and also the new stuff that's happening. That's really great. So share this with your friends. If you liked it and you think you might know some people who would be interested in the conversations we're having on here and the music we're playing, please let them know. We really appreciate it. And we'll catch you here next week when we have Nathan Feinstein from Ayaterra on. So, get your Ayaterra questions ready. And I hope y'all have a good week and everyone is helping each other out and doing what you need to get through this.
Yep. We'll see you guys. See you next week. Later days.
Later.